little something about the state of Iowa with help from our friend, Professor Jeff Stein. It is called the Iowa Almanac, and we have to say good morning to you, Professor.
And good morning to you both. Should we
Good
talk
morning.
some more politics, perhaps? We're not. We're
Not over that yet, are we? Tired of...
All right, well, take it away, sir. It's all yours.
This does have to do with elections, if you will. It's been a week. We've almost recovered from all of those elections, and throughout the state, 25 of our Iowa Senate districts were on the ballot, all 100 representatives. Well, where did that all come from? Let's roll things back more than a century and a half. The land west of the Mississippi River, including what is now the state of Iowa, was part of the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. Iowa was originally part of the Wisconsin Territory, but ultimately the parcel was divided. Now, some wanted to call this new territory Washington, after our first president. Others wanted to name it Jefferson, after the president who bought the land. So imagine, instead of our state being called Iowa, we were actually fairly close to living in the state of Washington, or perhaps the state of Jefferson. But instead, the name Iowa was given to the area by someone named Albert M. Lee. They wound up naming a city in Minnesota after him, Albert Lee. And that's... Every time you wonder, there really is an Albert Lee, and he gave us the name Iowa. On June 12th of 1838, President Martin Van Buren signed the bill which created the Iowa Territory. Now, that went into effect on Independence Day, July 4th. President Van Buren appointed Robert Lucas as governor. He had previous experience as governor of the state of Ohio. The president also appointed 3 justices for a territorial Supreme Court. The people of this new Iowa territory were to elect their own legislatures, and on November 12th, this date, 1838, the very first Iowa territorial legislature began meeting, 2 months after the first election. Governor Lucas decided Burlington would be the capital of the new territory until the legislature selected another location. And that first legislature settled various orders of business. One of the very first, though, was to establish a new city in Johnson County named Iowa City to be our state's capital. The cornerstone for the Capitol building was set in 1840, but it took a long time for that stone capitol to be built. The legislature did meet there in 1841, but in a temporary frame building. They moved into the stone capitol the next year. Still stands there, of course. We now call it the Old Capitol. Today, our legislature meets annually from January until April or sometimes May. But the very first legislative session for the Iowa Territory began on this date in 1838.
Wow. I'm just trying to think of what they would have called this state if they had a really big argument and it was Washington. And would it be a Washerson? Could we have been close to living in the state of Washerson?
We could have done that. Jeffington. I like Jeffington.
Jeffington. There we go. Now we're talking.
You would like Jeffington. Of course you'd like Jeffington.
That's really what I ought to call the estate. Jeffington. That would be great.
I like it.
That'd be perfect.
But you can just see you had the folks on this side who wanted Washington, this side who wanted Jefferson. There was a stalemate. So Albert Lee comes in and says, all right, let's settle it. We won't call it either. We'll call it Iowa. And they followed line.
All right, argument settled. Nobody wins that one. Okay, perfect. All right, now people are going to be talking about this, of how the state got its name. So people want to go back and check their facts. How can they do so?
IowaAlmanac.com, Lou. It's got a map of some of these territories also that you can follow. IowaAlmanac.com, also on Instagram and the Twitter machine at Iowa Almanac.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We will talk to you tomorrow morning. You try to stay warm.
It's going to be a struggle. I'll do my best.
All right.
Have a good day,
Thanks, guys.
sir.
All right.